Okay, we're recording. We are live.
Are
It's live, ladies and gentlemen.
away. Are we starting?
Let's do this thing.
Let's
Hey,
go.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NBA SA. What's up? It is the show where we are three South African enthusiastic basketball fans that just want to talk about basketball. And that's pretty much it.
Enthusiastic basketball fans or basketball enthusiasts?
Makes sense to you?
Straf him. Straf him. Straf
Yeah.
him. That's not allowed. That's disrespectful to the host.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Wesley.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
again.
The house, for those of you that are watching, the house rules are we are three friends and we are going to be very nasty to each other, but we mean it from a good place. And if it offends you, artists, yeah, because it's not going to offend the two of them, and we're okay with it. You just here, bystander, watching. Yeah. I am wearing a Lakers top because I am a bit of a Lakers fan.
Oh, boy.
I'm actually more a LeBron fan, so that you just kind of understand. And I think we live in
LeBron fan is that way.
yeah. We
Bandwagon.
live,
Did you say bandwagon? I'm old.
I am on the LeBron bandwagon. I'll take it. Away. And when he retires, that's when my real problem starts. Anyway, let me introduce you to the two other guests in the show. Kirk is an IT specialist. Kirk, how long have you been playing basketball?
Yo. When Jordan played in the Olympics.
Lies. The dinosaurs were around when he started playing basketball.
Yeah, so my introduction to basketball was a Bell Biv DeVoe music video called That Girl Is Poison. And in that music video, they walk down the street with a basketball. They're bouncing this basketball as they're walking down the street. And in that time, we were obviously being hip-hop enthusiasts. One of my friends, seeing this music video, got himself a basketball and walked up and down the road bouncing this basketball. And I was like, I can put that ball to good use. Give that ball to me. And then we started playing, messing around with, and then it just so happened that the very next year there was the old Dream Team boom, and that just when the rest is history. Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
You lost Wesley at Bell Biv DeVoe.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
So when you edit this, you must play that music video in the
That's that song.
So 92.
So 1992. Okay. And
Why are you wearing a Milwaukee top? I only saw that now.
Because there isn't only one bandwagon in the NBA, but to be fair, 98 Townsend Street is the bus stop for many wagons. I got my Clippers top I can put on if you want me.
For every team, Kirk and bandwagon with the best of them.
Look at that over there. Authentic fan.
Yeah,
I was there for a period.
Okay, that moves on to the next guy. Timmy, tell us about yourself. How long have you been playing basketball?
Not nearly as long as Kirk has been playing ball.
Yes.
Sure. A good 20 years, maybe, right? Most of it through the eyes and through muscle memory, right? And not a lot of running up and down the actual court. My story was simple. I remember my dad had gone, he'd been in America and he came back. And you know, when the parents come back, they come with a present. And I got a poster. Not a cut present, the poster is. By the way, I put that shit up. But it was a poster of Jordan. And then they laminated it. Right? They put it on the wall. And you know the one we jumps on the free throw line and he dunks?
Yeah.
Not that one. Wasn't that one? It wasn't quite. He was dunking on one of the Cleveland guys. I think his name was Craig Elo. And he was dunking on him and he was looking the other way, but he was straight up. And they put it above my bed.
Okay.
And I don't know how long between then and then when I actually started playing, there were a couple of Angolans at the school, and the Angolans were good, right?
Yeah.
And we started playing from there. And then I started playing at those UCT courts. And then actually the funny thing is, I don't know if it's because of basketball or if it's because of the people that you meet. When you meet friends, you spend time with them, and actually we met because of basketball. And then they still sort of my closest friends today. And whether that's because of basketball, whether that's because of them, who knows? But that's the basketball story. I am, unlike the two of you bandwagon kids, right? I am a Dallas Mavericks supporter through and through. I come prepared with my little ball.
Oh, yeah.
And we will spit Mavs wisdom and be completely biased and don't expect anything else of me.
Oh, yeah.
Tendencies that you're trying to convert.
Luca.
Can you guys use rain?
Luca.
Yeah.
Incidentally, that's another song.
But you can mime that.
Can you not hear the rain by me?
No, I hear the rain by me.
Because I thought maybe it's gonna spoil it. Anyway, whatever. My history of basketball is very simple. I went to a primary school in Montana called Montevideo, and Kirk's brother was my grade 5 teacher, who happened to be the basketball coach. I thought Mr. Daniels was cool, so if you played basketball, you'd be as cool as Mr. Daniels, and that's my story.
So you just know that 80% of the listeners just switched off after that.
Because of the hate. Daniels!
Did you ever call Kirk Mr. Daniels?
Never.
Did you ever call Kirk uncle?
Never.
He doesn't even call me uncle.
Hi, Mr. Daniels, and hi, uncle.
Uncle Katie.
All right, so that's my story. That's pretty much a little intro of the three of us. And we are now going to just talk basketball. And I thought it's only fitting that we talk about last season first. We're about to enter the new season, which starts on Tuesday night. And I'm pretty excited. I don't actually even know who I'm going to watch first, besides GOAT.
Why are they playing the Mavs? Because what else?
But Tuesday night is a big night. But let's reflect on last season. James, whoever wants to go first can go first. Just tell us highlights, lowlights. What do you remember? What was dope about last season? Because it was a Jits season. Kirk.
Well, according to you, it wasn't because of the two low-key teams that made the finals. What?
Stop the bus. Before he goes.
Okay.
Before he goes.
Okay.
Right? If we are going to, right, give our opinions.
Yes.
Right. And our basis of our relationship is because we played basketball together and we competed.
Yes.
It makes no sense to me that this isn't a competition as well. No? So if he's going to give an opinion and I'm going to give an opinion,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And I want Wesley to validate that my opinion is better.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
But in the same way with competition, if your opinion isn't valid, I can call you out an attack opinion. I must be able to. It's like doing a move and you get a cut. I'm going to tell you, you're a cut.
That's fair. That's fair. I back my jump shot.
Is that what we do? That's what we do. Everything that you're going to say, we're allowed to crit that you're talking bullshit or we agree.
Okay.
Listen, and to be fair, I don't mind if you critique my opinion.
The Mavs are cocked.
As long as my opinion is still better than his. His opinion must be cockerer than mine, and I'm happy.
Okay. So you gotta win the argument.
Or even if it's not an argument, just have a better point.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't care. You can make up your own rules and judgments as you go, sir.
That's what I was gonna say. Because you can't say your opinion is better if it's an opinion.
Nah, I can. That's the opinion.
Okay. All right, Katie, over to you, bro. Last season.
So, what I liked about last season was the way it ended, actually. I don't know, the regular season was a bit odd because, admittedly, I didn't watch as many regular season games last year as I usually do. I don't know, it just felt like, I guess it was pandemic and there were more important things to worry about throughout the regular season. But when the playoffs slapped, my bro, that first few rounds, just watching the first of the playoff games, the play-in games were actually quite entertaining. That Lakers Golden State game was tight. I mean, Steph basically came out of nowhere for that season and he was like, I'm going to carry this team and I'm going to do my shit. He was playing at a really high tick. So that was entertaining. So once the playoffs kicked in, it was really good. I like the fact that a first-time winner won. Although Toronto won at 2019, and they were a first-time winner as well. But this win felt more authentic than that win. It felt like they got a free ride with Kawhi's lucky bounce, with the injuries in the finals. I mean, there's an argument that you play who you play, and there's an argument that Golden State got a few lucky breaks on their title run. But I really liked the Bucks and just watching them grow into a team that could win a title. I always said, I mean, we speak on WhatsApp all the time, and from the beginning, I said that the only thing that's stopping the Bucks from winning is their belief that they can actually win, because their role players were such role players that you could see them shrivel in those moments where they needed to be great a lot of the time. And Giannis picking up his injury was such a blessing in disguise, because that helped the role players realize that they can actually win a game. And from then, they just look like a championship team. I mean, they had their wobbles throughout, but yeah, Giannis played at a super high tick, and everything just worked out for him. And even afterwards, him going through the drive-through at what was it? The fast food outlet. I can't remember which one it was. Chick-fil-A. Yeah, going to Chick-fil-A with a fucking trophy on his lap, talking to the people and saying, "I want 51." That's how much he scored. It's like just watching him enjoy his title was so refreshing. I loved it. Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me.
Cool. So that was a really long-winded way of saying that you liked the season because the Bucks won.
And I called it.
Actually, I mean, the funny point is my first point around why I love the last season is also because the Bucks won, but I didn't need all of those words. It's quite. I love the Bucks team. That was awesome, and I think what was cool about the Bucks winning everything was it legitimately looks like a nice group of guys. They legitimately look like they're there for one another. They play a style of basketball which for the most part looks like that they're willing to share and give up and sacrifice, and I love that from a basketball philosophy perspective, right? But actually, maybe just more, I suppose, esoterically, the fact that they won was a sign that it's not easy to circumvent the process of winning. Yeah. So you have these super teams which form, and whether super teams form because of big markets and money, or whether they're friends and they want to go and play in the same place, right? And they come together. I suppose last season showed that you can do that, but because of the salary cap, because of the way that the league is structured, there's still a risk in that approach, right? And if you have a high concentration of high level talent in your team, and any one of them gets injured or something goes wrong, actually it's likely that you're not going to win because you can't carry that through. And so there are more ways to build a team, and the more ways to build a team, I think the better it is for a league, because different teams have different challenges. Yeah, and I think that's great. And then a big thing about last year, although it feels like it's sort of been bubbling, it was really a sign of sort of the changing of the guard. If I just go back and if you go to 2008, right, and I start reading you the names of all the people who were the MVPs, right, in the finals: Paul Pierce, Kobe Bryant, Dirk, LeBron, Kawhi, and then
2008, man. Don't go to any other year.
2008. Because actually from 2008, it's the same names. You basically have Kobe, you have LeBron, you have KD, and you have got a couple of Kawhis in there. And the MVP this year was Giannis, right? But the reality is, in the playoffs, on the way there, right? Actually, who were the stars? The stars were Trae Young, right? The stars were Devin Booker. The star was Luka, right? And so it's not just about that top talent, which actually Giannis took over, but actually there's a changing of the guard that's coming, right? And it's exciting. I think it's good for the league. It doesn't happen fast, so the league still feels familiar, right? But you feel it's coming, and it's exciting to watch these guys. And then, of course, obviously the most important thing about the season, and I love the fact that KD's wearing that Milwaukee top, but the greatest part of the season and that flow through into international competition is Luka. Yes. Let's be honest.
Arguable.
Maybe when he starts whining like a little bitch, he'll be entertaining to watch.
To add to what you both said, is, for me, the league was hard for two reasons. One was that a first-time team won it. A grana underdog. It's why I love sport so much. It's the fact that the bra who you don't think will win can win. That's the first thing. Hold on. Second thing is, I love that the NBA has become a lighty-friendly league where young Owens are going, nah, I can bomb. Trae Young if Trae Young had a better squad, he could have gone further. I believe he's got the balls. I believe Luka is everything that an NBA team will want. Everything. He just needs whatever he needs. But those are my two things. Is Milwaukee all good enough to win the league, but you didn't think it and won it? The kids are saying, even though I'm young and there's this bunch of old brasser, I don't think they are fazed with the history of who should win it and who shouldn't win it. I think the young bucks are out here to come and win it all, and they have no fear. And that, for me, makes this season even more exciting. Oh yeah, that's my 2 cents. Now let's crit each other's arguments.
I don't necessarily want to crit your argument. I agree with your arguments. I just find it I'm offended, right? I'm offended by somebody who says, I love an underdog wearing a Lakers top. I just don't understand.
It's a conversation.
Love an underdog.
Because if LeBron doesn't win, an underdog must win. Dallas, I'm not going to give it to Mo. I want an underdog. Milwaukee was that, I guess. But,
yeah, I think he's quite funny. But I liked what Tim said, a lot of what Tim said, and he even used the word esoteric. Like, take this, bruh.
First episode, big words.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know.
I used all my words up just like I did. I've got nothing more for you guys.
But Luka has a long way to go before he's anywhere near the conversation.
Yeah, what conversation?
Near the conversation of exciting people to watch. He's fun to watch, but if there was a Donovan Mitchell game on, if there was a Luka game on, if there was a Trae Young game on, if there was a who else is quite
Boston.
Now we're in South Africa, nobody cares about Boston.
What's his name? The young bra.
You talking about Tatum and Brown.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. I fucking
Like-
love him.
Luka would be like third on that list to watch. Maybe second, possibly fourth. But I don't think you're tuning into Luka if there's so much talent to enjoy in the league. He's not. I don't think he's at that point where he's a ticket. He's a draw card as yet. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
So I mean, look, the broader point was there's lots of young talent, and that's what last year brought out, right? And so I think we agree on that because you mentioned a whole bunch of people, right? And I suppose my Luka fascination is two-part, one part because I'm completely biased, right?
Yeah.
And I'll own that. I'll own that shit, right? And then the next part actually is there are lots of people in the league who are good at certain things, like career scorers or great rebounders, right? Or great people who can block shots.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're good at their particular part of their craft, right? And I suppose what's interesting about Luka is, and this is funny, the basketball that they play isn't necessarily the basketball that I find most attractive, right? But the amount of control he has on all aspects of the game with the ball in his hand is something that probably I haven't seen since watching LeBron play for the Cavs. Yeah. And there's a lot that he needs to figure out, and there's a lot that the pieces need to fit properly around him to get the best out of it. But whether it's aesthetically pleasing or not, or whether it's high flying or not, or whether it's quick or not, right? I suppose when you take a look back and watch how much one individual controls, right? I think that there's something sort of. So
you actually agree with Kirk?
Yeah.
And he's not a showstopper. He's not the big ticket. He's not, if LeBron retires at the end of the year, that the league's going to be watching him. But what we all agree is that we will pick him in our squad.
Yeah. So look at it's an interesting. So why do people go to games? Why do people go to the stadium to go and watch?
Entertainment.
Right? Yes. And what do people find most entertaining?
Winning.
That is it. That is it. You think Houston, the Houston or the Brooklyn courts were full because Harden plays an attractive game? No. But what he did won. Right?
Yeah.
You'd carry teams and you'd get lots of wins from it. Yeah.
So speaking of players, fellas, we're going into this year's season.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we thinking is going to be a Donovan Mitchell this year? Where at the start of the season, we're not talking about you, but Donovan Mitchell owned a lot of last season. The Jazz were hot.
Oh, yeah.
Donovan Mitchell.
They had the best record, didn't they?
Yeah. And unapologetically, he was hard. But I don't think any of us would have said at the beginning of last season, I think Donovan Mitchell's going to have a just season. So what player are you guys thinking could have a Donovan Mitchell type season? And when I say Donovan Mitchell, I mean just out of the ordinary, take a team to do better than what we all think they can. Where's our heads at?
Before we move on to the next question, honorable question, Judge. I don't believe that you passed judgment on who won the previous question.
There's no winner of the previous question.
Nobody cares. You won to me. You won.
We actually agreed with
I don't care if you patronize me or not. I'll take a win.
Okay. Tim is leading 1-0 in last year's season conversation. Yeah. All right, back to question 2. Are you going to stop us now, Tim?
You must start docking points here.
Yeah, terms and conditions apply with Tim. Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
I am excited, really excited, and specifically because I brought it up earlier on. But I think this season is going to belong to Jason Tatum. I think he's at an age group where he's suffered enough. He's lost a lot of big games. I think he's at a point in his career where he can run a team And I think that the team that he's in can do really well. I really, really do believe that. I think between him and Brown, they have enough star talent. They've got enough experience. And I think that I don't know the Celtics as a whole, how they will do, but I have a really, really strong feeling about Jason Tatum this season. That's my guy for this season, my outside horse.
Okay.
Also, he's just a little bit older than all the young bucks we just spoke about.
Easy.
I think, so.
Younger.
I think he's 1 or 2 years older than Luka.
This is going into his third season now, eh?
No. I think it's at least his fourth. Look, they're all under 25, and I think Wiz is right. I think he is maybe a year or two older.
Yeah, that's my guy. Who you guys got?
You want to go, Tommy, or must I go?
No, you can go. You can go.
So there are a number of guys that I think are going to do well for their teams. Just randomly, like Fox in Sacramento, I think he's going to be really good. I do think Julius Randle is going to be. I don't think he's going to be better than he was last season. He's going to be doing pretty much the same as he has been doing, but he kind of flies under the radar. I guess it's because of his game. He's got a very like an LJ type of game. Post back injury LJ type of game, very feet on the ground type.
Doesn't run fast.
It's just there. The guys who I think are going to bring some flash to the game, I really think Ja is going to do well in Memphis. He's been making some highlights. I don't think he's going to be at the point yet. He's still there's this journey to greatness in the NBA. So you first learn to play in the NBA, then you learn how to score in the NBA, then you learn how to make your team better in the NBA, then you learn how to play defense, then you put that all together, and then you win a championship. Basically, that's sort of like the roadmap for if you look at the great players. I don't think he's there yet. He's still learning how to score and make his team better. But he's going to be fun to watch. I really am looking forward to watching him play. Another guy who I think is going to do good is Book. I think there was a funny. You saw him bench him in the finals, which was bizarre. But it speaks to his growth and he's maturing into the leading in that team. I think CP3 everybody deferred to CP3 because CP3 is the elder statesman, But CP3 hasn't won for a reason, and it showed again in the finals. He can take you so far, but he can't take you all the way. There's deficiencies. I don't know what it is. It's that taking that step to greatness. I think it's like the table was set for CP3 to take that step to greatness, and he couldn't. Giannis just took it from him.
So his deficiency used to be his hamstring. Now his deficiency is Giannis.
So I really think it's going to be the changing of the guard at the Suns, and Book is going to play more of a role, more of an influential role. And it's sort of the stage is sort of set for him to do that. There's Karl Anthony Towns in with the T-Wolves. He's had a few. He started out really well. He's had a few seasons of injuries and niggles. If he can overcome that, I think he's going to be really good. He's got a nice team around him. D'Lo, that rookie, Anthony. I think he's going to, that core can actually, right?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I think that core is going to set Cat up to do really well this year. But the person that I think is going to have the most impact on his team is actually Kuz. Funnily enough, shoot me for saying this. Everybody hates Kuz, but he's
Kyle.
Yeah, Kuzma. Okay. I think he's a big fish in a small pond. And moving to Washington, where he's first, second option to Bradley Beal, I really think if they give him the confidence to do well, he's going to elevate the Washington Wizards to better than they were last year.
My only problem with Kyle Kuzma, and because I watch such a lot of Lakers games, is I think he's got all the potential to be gehard, né? But yeah, I don't believe he wants to be that old. Just my opinion.
He's still young.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe LeBron kind of spoiled that for him. But he was on my list of players to watch. So I'm very, very, very curious to see how he does.
Yeah.
Very curious, yeah. Tell me who you got, bro.
Besides Luka. Porzingis, yeah.
Porzingis.
Wait for it.
And then Brunson, bruh, for fuck's sake.
Jalen Brunson, I think, is going to do really well this season. Guy with another.
I'm glad you know what's coming, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let it burn in the background so long. No, okay. I do want to say, can I start with a critique first? Yeah. Right? Because your question was, okay, cool. Who is this up and coming? Right? Who is this that wasn't recognized last year that will be amazing this year? Right? How are you gonna start with Jason Tatum if he played in the All-Star game? He was in the All-Star game. And that's aside from the quality of your question and your answer. I also disagree with everything you said about him. How has he suffered?
Can I say something?
Last year he was already in the playoffs. He's never been in a bad team situation. Right? He hasn't suffered at all. He hasn't showed any of that leadership.
He had Kyrie on his team. That's the worst situation you can be in.
So he had Kyrie in his team the year after they already made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
As a young buck. He hasn't suffered, right? They've had nothing but success. They've had nothing but the good opportunity, right? I've got, and I suppose again, just coming back to the point of the question was.
I'm trying to say, can you stop picking on Wesley, please? This is the second time.
Fine.
Everything I say is on me. Yeah. Come, Jalen Brunson. Come, Jalen Brunson.
I'm okay with that. Because you know why? Because Kirk's first person was Devin Booker, who was also in the All-Star game.
That wasn't my first person. That was my fourth person.
Sorry, you're right. And Julius Randle. Julius Randle was an all-star. Devin Booker was an all-star. They don't count. You can't count him.
I didn't pick them.
Help educate people.
I ultimately picked Kyle Kuzma, but I was painting the picture of people that I would like to watch.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. I like it. You were going. I'm gonna make my answer look so quiet because I'm gonna put the wrong answers in front of you first. Okay. I see the strategy.
You see. So rain down your pearly little gems.
Who you got, Timmy?
So I got some themes here. I got some themes of players. Right. First of all, actually, none of these three players, right?
Play in the NBA.
my first three players all play in the NBA. They actually all play for the same team, right? One's a no-brainer pick because he wasn't in the All-Star game, right?
Giannis's brother, Giannis's other brother.
So the Atlanta threesome. Trae Young wasn't in the All-Star game last year, right? I think he's a no-brainer in this conversation. I think he's one of the most exciting players in the NBA, right? And then you got John Collins, right? I don't know if he just got paid, if he's in that contract year now, but he had a great playoffs, and I think they're gonna have a little bit of swagger. And then the guy you never saw in their team, right? But actually, he was averaging 15 points in the regular season before he got injured. DeAndre Hunter, right? That guy can ball, right? And I think all three of them are going to take a step forward, right? And whoever else comes along for the ride, they're going to take Atlanta. So if you can watch an Atlanta game, I think watch Atlanta for any one of those guys. Yeah. Then I'm going to go with a young batch of players, and I suppose I probably top to bottom are no-brainers, right? I'm surprised because Kirk's mentioned him before, Michael Porter Jr., right? especially with Murray being injured, I think he's going to have a monster year. We at least still have the green light, and I think that's a no-brainer. I agree completely with Kirk. I think Ja Morant is going to have another awesome year. I think he's awesome. I think the way that they're building that team is awesome. Everything that sounds like a culture and a person, that's great. I think people sleep on RJ Barrett. As much as Kirk mentioned Julius Randle, RJ Barrett is the second best player on that team. And actually, remember when he was at Duke, right? Or I suppose when they got to Duke, he was the number one, not Zion.
Arguably, he was the better player. Yeah.
Exactly. And last year, I think, was a good year in terms of just culture, in terms of winning. I think he figured some things out. I think his stepfather or something, not stepfather, godfather, is Steve Nash, right? Like there's a lot of grooming, things are kind of coming together. He looks like he's got a good head on his shoulder. Southpaw, like I think he's set for. I think this is the year where he comes out. If New York does well, it's going to be because he's taken a step, not necessarily Julius, right? Then you have Bam Adebayo, right? Also not an all-star, right? They finally got more pieces around, so actually he has to carry less of the responsibility and the load as a go-to person, and I think that's going to be great for him. Then if you don't care about winning, SJ at the Thunder, and like Kirk said, Darren Fox at the Sacramento, they're going to put up big numbers. I don't know if it's going to mean anything or not, just from people to watch. And then I've got some injury guys, just people who I think you should watch coming off injury, right? Because it's going to be interesting, right? Klay Thompson, right? And I think if he's good, Warriors are great. If he's mediocre or bad, they're in trouble. They're going nowhere.
Klay is good, then the Warriors are dangerous.
Yes, not favorites, just dangerous. Yeah, and I think that's interesting if you're going to watch something. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. coming off his injury and having a whole year at Memphis next to Ja, those two fit perfectly. You can shoot from the outside. He's got a great touch. Like again, the culture stuff seems there. I'd be excited to watch Memphis. I'd watch Memphis as much as I watch Atlanta, right? And then you guys know that I wasn't going to leave anything, and you joked about it. But actually, coming off an injury, I legitimately think that KP is going to have a proper year. Because if he doesn't, his career is done. Yeah, and there's nothing.
That is my one-liner about him.
Yeah,
you don't bomb the season, then I'm over him. We can
100%.
take that unicorn off.
Wasn't last his injury-free season?
What?
Wasn't last season his injury-free season? He wasn't injured last year?
No. So that was him coming back. He missed the beginning of the season. And I suppose the point there was it was such a short piece back. That's what they attribute his poor movement on defense being. The Dallas rumor mill is he went back to Latvia and all he did was doing defensive slides and posing. Look, if he plays decent defensively, right, all of a sudden his value is completely different. And then he's the perfect fit with Luka. If he's bad defensively, then they'll ship him out. Then I don't think he'll be there for much longer. But it's an interesting thing to watch.
Now check here. A lot of you mentioned dual players in teams, right? So if we're now talking about players that we are going to highlight, okay, they are, I reckon, maybe 4 or 5 teams we could all split and go, all right, I think they could win it all.
Before you move on, I just want to say something about Tim's list. So Trae Young's breakout season was last season.
Yes.
Right? John Collins actually had a bad year last year because of the fact that Clint Capella arrived and he's taking a lot of his thunder. So John Collins is struggling to find his role in that team because they've added a starter in Clint Capella. So, I mean, I've had John Collins in my fantasy teams for quite a while, and he's a fantastic player. But last year, because of the arrival of Clint Capella, that just fucked his minutes up, and he was really struggling. He sort of got it together in the end, but still, they're trying to figure out how to fit that team together. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in, and I don't see a good year for John Collins, unfortunately.
So if you say you don't see a good year for John Collins, are you saying you don't see a prosperous year for Atlanta?
No. I mean,
they're deep, man.
They are proper. Like you said, DeAndre Hunter, fucking Bogdan Bogdanovic that can shoot for days. I mean, it was. I had taste.
You were Inter.
I had taste. They struggled in the playoffs to Bogdan's knee. failing in that playoff run against Milwaukee.
And look, Atlanta can also do well because he put the gun on the table. They offered him a contract early on, and
Yes,
it wasn't.
and he was supposed to go to Milwaukee.
And no, sorry, not. I wasn't talking about Bogdan. I was talking about John Collins.
Oh, yeah.
So they look. Apparently, they offered him a contract. He said, "No, it's cool. I'll wait because I want the max." Right, and effectively, I'll play for it. And I think one of the things that they did was, I suppose, probably just look. They were building the team properly, but they also added a lot of pieces so that if they couldn't afford him any bounce, they would be fine.
Okay.
So look, I think Atlanta will be fine regardless. Right? I still think that throughout the course of the season, you're right. Clint took those 5 minutes, right? But the reality is that he started playing more and more out and became a legitimate shooter around it. So whether he plays alongside him and he goes on the outside and he creates that space, or alternatively whether he plays small ball 5, I think that the playoffs last year helped things fall into place. And that's why I'm feeling so happy for him. But you guys didn't wait for my hippie picks. I got hippie picks as well.
I must agree that Atlanta are going to be fun to watch.
Fun.
Yeah.
I picked cats that weren't all stars, right? And then I picked the young Pakanins. I got the interesting injury guys, and then the complete hippie picks. So just guys that I think.
You actually haven't given your final pick as well. So carry on.
Oh no,
League one.
No. Who's one? What sort of league of teams one person? What's that? Right?
And lose this.
Okay, wait. I'll give you one. But let me at least go with my hippie ones first. Go full hippie.
Yes,
nothing but hippies here.
Finish with this.
The hippie picks, the great picks. First of all, OG from Toronto. Right, I think he's gonna have a phenomenal year, especially because Pascal is out for the first part of it. Right, and the second thing is, I don't know if you guys ever watched any Charlotte games, but Miles Bridges. He is too nice, right? And now you're gonna have Gordon Hayward back, and that's gonna take some attention from the defense. You're gonna have LaMelo developing. You're gonna see a lot of Miles Bridges destroying people from the inside, from the outside.
He put some caps on folk.
Easily the best highlight. So look, I think that there's quality all around in those names. The no-brainers would be the Trae Youngs or the Michael Porter Juniors. But if you just want to interesting for fun, right, and complete TP, and you're gonna tell somebody that doesn't know anybody about basketball, or even if they know things about basketball and they wouldn't have watched Charlotte, go and watch Miles Bridges.
Yeah. So is that your final pick?
That's my. I'm going full EP.
But they would be watching Charlotte though because of LaMelo.
Hey,
they will be watching Charlotte because of LaMelo.
Maybe
LaMelo is a marketing genius. That whole family, whether you love them or hate them. Yeah. No, they smart. They smart.
So that's fine. You'll go to watch LaMelo, but I promise you are leaving remembering how.
That's true. Okay, so
I won that round because that was an ultimate fail, Tim. Sorry.
You picked guys who were already all-stars.
I love how I picked 1, Kirk picked 7, Tim was
13.
I'm not going to lose. I'm going to
confidence,
By
default, I should win. By default.
You picked an all-star. Your own rules said you can't pick an all-star. I was like, okay, cool. Who you got? Nah, I got this all-star.
And to be fair, I don't even think he's going to be that quiet.
Oh, he suffered. How are you going to suffer?
Hold on. Are you seriously saying you don't think Jason Tatum will have a good season?
He's not going to be. I don't believe he will be any better than he has been.
I agree with Kirk.
Fuck no.
I don't think he's going to elevate his game to such a phenomenal level that I'm going to want to watch the Celtics. I'm just happy because I'm also mooring you now.
Okay. Let's move on then. We're away from players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teams. Okay. You're not allowed to say the Lakers. You're not allowed to say the Mavericks. You're not allowed to say Brooklyn Nets. You're not allowed to say Milwaukee Bucks. And you're not allowed to say Phoenix Suns.
and a partridge in a pear tree.
Which team, hear me out, which team can make the finals?
So this is not.
But you're saying
Who do you pick to win it all?
Out the only teams that can make the finals.
No. Let me rephrase my question.
Minnesota. Might as well pick the Kaiser Chiefs.
With reason. Okay. So my outsider team that
Didn't you go first already?
Hey?
Didn't you go first already?
It's this game. You can go whenever you want.
I'm the host.
Yeah.
I can make the rules.
Especially because he said, listen, we must be quiet this, right? So I want you guys to prepare. So go prepare these questions. But when we get here, I'm going to ask you different questions. This wasn't one of the questions.
You're going to be prepared for anything, Timmy. Be prepared for anything. My next question is, are you voting for the DA or the ASC?
Patricia.
I'm good.
Okay. Let me rephrase it then. For Timmy's sanity. Who will win it all this season?
Actually, I'm glad you went to the other one because I didn't like this question anyway. You can also review.
If you were to, okay, so, but I don't want us to pick the normal team, right? Because Milwaukee and Phoenix and Toronto even prove to us that you can't call it. You can't just call it. Also, stats show that these four teams are the top teams. But there's always, like, even if you think back now, right? If you go back to the beginning of last year and you go, well, a form Devin Booker with an experienced Chris Paul, with a good coach could do well. A informed Giannis that's growing and growing and growing with a cool side pair could do well. But you couldn't call it at the beginning of the season. That's the question I'm asking. Who is that to you? Who's that team? Who's that team? That's why I say you can't say the Lakers because they are that team. You can't say the Nets because they are that team.
Who says the Lakers are that team?
No, they are.
Actually, another funny thing is when you before you took it off, and I was so disappointed. I didn't think I was ever gonna say it, but I think the Lakers probably were gonna win it, right? I think because this year's coming. This is what I prepared in my head, right? I was like, they know what it takes. They're very experienced. It's the last push from the LBJ. He's gonna go all in. They mature. They won't panic. They have depth, and also you must remember you mentioned the narrative. The narrative works, right? The ball will bounce their way, and if it doesn't, the NBA will make sure that the ball bounces their way, right? And the funny thing is, I was like, I love the Bucks. I prefer the Bucks to win. But the reason why I didn't think, and so when you guys popped up with the Lakers stop and the Bucks stop, I laughed on the inside. And like, I think the Bucks, they just won. And although they'll be more confident and they'll have that swagger, the reality is you're not as desperate, right? It's just human nature. And up until the Eastern Conference Finals, I remember it was probably even still game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And Rick Carlisle had just resigned from the Mavs, right? And in my mind, and I probably said it to you guys too, I was like, yo, you know, it'd be the best for the Bucks if they hired Rick Carlisle now, mid-series, and you do well. And so, like, yeah, you won, and I love the fact that they won. But I still think that there's some issues coach-wise that need to be sorted out. And again, so
the Bucks won because Giannis willed them to win.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And Giroux, when he was doing badly at some things, he came to the party, and others, and Middleton, he elevated his game. He definitely did.
Middleton.
Yeah.
You guys hate on Middleton.
So let me rephrase my question. Let me rephrase my question. Who is your outsider team? And there must be an outsider team.
Yes.
There's got to be a team where, marketing aside, the Mavericks don't have it. The Mavericks don't have it all yet. I don't think so.
I like how you backtracked. I'm okay with
I don't
that.
think so.
We'll leave it there.
Lucas too young.
Okay, so your initial question was, which outsider team do you think will do the best this season and why?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my question. That is my question.
Okay. So looking at the East, right? There's not a. If you look at the teams that will make the playoffs, there's the Bucks, the Nets, Philly, Miami, Atlanta, the Wizards, maybe New York, maybe Celtics.
Chicago.
No, Wizards finished 5th last year, no?
But they had Russ and Bill.
Wizards finished 8th last year.
Did they? Huh? No.
And I'm only saying that because I just brought it up. It's not because my basketball knowledge or I care that much about the Wizards.
Wasn't it when they high up on the did Russ play them into the playoff game?
Russ played them into the playoff game. They finished at a clip of about 5th. Yeah.
I take it back. So not worse.
I mean, as I said quickly, Sixers, Nets, Bucks, Knicks, Hawks, Heat, Celtics, Wizards, and then Pacers, Hornets, Bulls.
So my point is, so you got 6 teams, 7 teams that will comfortably make the playoffs. Then you've got outsiders, maybe New York. I don't think Celtics are going to do well. I believe Celtics are going to struggle. They've got a new coach. They pretty much got the same team. Then you have the Bulls that have upgraded. I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch this year. I don't think they're going to impact the lay of the land in the East, but they are going to make some waves. They're going to be fun to watch for a lot of the time. Charlotte are going to improve. As we've said, Charlotte are a fun team to watch. The Pacers are sort of bubbling under. If LeVert can stay healthy and if he can...
He's already injured.
Yeah.
He's got another fracture.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, I feel so sorry for that, bruh. But they were in and around that play-in area. So there are a few teams that can be interesting in the East. The team I'm picking to be the most entertaining in the East is the Wizards because of Kuzma's addition to that team and his goldfish mentality. He dropped like 5 of 7 threes in the last game they played. He just went postal for over a period of time. He can really light it up. In the West, funnily enough, the team that I'm most interested in watching is the Warriors. It sounds weird calling a multiple title winner an outsider team, but because of their journey and because of where they've landed, it is going to be interesting to watch them. I watched them against the Lakers the other night, and they've got Avery Bradley in that team. And the way that he's a lockdown, you laugh. He's a lockdown defender, bro. For that second unit. So
I thought it was my inside laugh. My bad.
It's your outside laugh. I feel the reason the Golden State Warriors struggled last year is because the people they brought on didn't understand their roles, and everybody was trying to get a piece of the minutes that were floating around. But watching this Golden State second unit play against the Lakers and how they moved the ball and how they understood their roles and how they picked their shots and how Avery was dictating that with that second unit, I do believe that with that second unit understanding their roles and playing Golden State basketball, they are going to be a really, 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 really fun team to watch, regardless of whether Clay comes back. If Clay comes back, they're going to be a threat to the top 4 teams making the playoffs in that side because there's an upset around them. I don't think they'll make top 4. They'll make a good run at it. Because if you look at the West teams, there's the 2 LA teams, there's Utah, there's Phoenix. But I suppose it ends there. There's the Mavericks, there's Denver, there's Portland. I mean, if Golden State get it together, they can challenge easily the Mavs, Denver, Portland for a piece of the pie in the West. Then there's teams like San Antonio, who my heart beats for. I hope they're going to make the playoffs again. They've got a night. I looked at that team, and it's such a ragtag team of players. But funny enough, they always find gems and they always find diamonds in the rough. Delante Murray is a fantastic player. he could lead that team. They look really good. But at times they look quite messy as well when they try to run in offense. And I don't know how long Pop is going to hold out there, because he clearly stated when they broke up their team that he wasn't interested in rebuilding. But he's hung around for a while, and I don't know how things are gonna pan out there. Like I said, T-Wolves, Memphis, they are outliers. They can upset some people as well. But ultimately, my team in the West is the Golden State Warriors to be entertaining and to cause some upsets, and the Wizards in the East will look to cause some upsets. So.
Quiet. Tell me who you got. After Kirk's soliloquy.
I didn't use any big words.
Let me think about every team in the NBA, and I'll pick one and one.
Did I mention every team in the NBA?
You did. I think the only team you didn't mention
Orlando.
Was the Rockets.
And the Lakers.
I didn't mention, I said the two LA teams.
You did. And you know, right? I know that Wesley wasn't listening, because after your whole soliloquy, he said quiet, and most of your arguments were crack, because you were talking, as you were talking, I was like, when you opened up with my East team, right, is the Wizards. I was like, how many of those drinks did you drink? What have you got in there? And then when you
wait. So what question do you think I was answering?
What? I thought you were answering Wes's question. Which outside team is going to do the best? Not what's most entertaining. Right? What outside team is going to do the best? And then you went to the Wizards, and I was like, yo, you drunk. And then you said the Warriors.
Wait. So give me your list.
Whoa.
Not my list. Give me your list.
Then you said the Warriors. And I was like, yo, actually, you know what? Actually, that's a good answer. And you said the Warriors because Avery Barry. And I was like, you definitely drunk. And then you said both LA teams are going to be quiet. The Clippers are going to stink. They're going to be bad. They're going to have Paul George. Kawhi's not playing for the whole year. Right? He's not even going to be on the bench. Right? If he's in the stadium, they're going to be lucky.
I mentioned the playoff teams in the West.
Yes. Let me give us your list.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. Now
I came with one team. Now you want a list. I gave you a list before you wanted one.
Give me one team. Give me something. I like how to me Cloud is picked by talking cack about everything else.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm picking Mavs.
Before he gives his team, he's just like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I believe the Cape Town Tigers are going to be the team to watch this year.
You can find a decent stream.
Tell me who you got.
So look, if we were gonna go east, right? I legit think that and you're not allowed to pick the Nets or the Bucks, right? Then I think that you've got to take that Hawks team seriously. I think not only they're going to be entertaining, but they got some swagger and confidence from that playoff run.
Over
Philly. Pardon?
Over Philly.
Yeah. And as much as Ben Simmons pitched up in Philly, right? What's interesting about what? Hey?
It's a token pitch-up.
It's a token pitch-up. He gets his 8 mil, right? And the reality is that even if he tries, so I believe that winning solves everything, right? I've never been to Philly, but the way that it looks like that crowd and the culture of that city is, I'm not sure that's the one city that winning might not solve everything. Yeah. And I think that he needs to come in and at least play well enough to make people remember what sort of value he is. And I think that's the only way that Delante Murray will trade him out. Otherwise, it's a long wait until probably Jan or right before the trade deadline. And so because of that, like, he was a big part. I actually liked him, and I like that team. I really like that team before. And I don't think, he gave up a dunk, but the dude was an all-star, right? He made it to the All-NBA squad.
Yeah.
right? He was fantastic. You don't just lose a player like that and carry on. You don't. And so that's why I think, regardless of, even if they're still good, they've got to change the entire way that they play. They've got to change the entire defense that they play. And that means that I don't think it'll be great if they did well, but I think they're going to drop down a couple of notches, and they'd have to overcome a lot to get there. Whereas Atlanta's got all the momentum going their way.
True.
Right? They don't have to overcome. They just need to ride that wave. And so that's an easy pick. And then again, maybe I'm going to go a little bit hipster, and actually I'm not, because you guys see me coming here, right? I legitimately think of those outsider teams. Of the outsider teams, you know what's coming. Right? The Mavs legitimately have the best chance of doing the best. And I'll tell you why. Yeah. So some of it in the West is because of fundamental issues. So actually, I think that the Utah run in the playoffs did them badly, not better. I think that team is fractured. I think that mentally they're probably on the brink. The star players have been at each other's necks for a while. If they go into a little slump, I don't think that they've got the team culture accepted to get through that. I think they'll be in real trouble. If I just go through the top ones, the Suns, I think they probably peaked a year too early, and they've got an issue with Ayton. They were like, hey, do you remember that interview at the end of one of the games where Chris Paul looked at him and said, that man's going to get the bag, yeah, except until negotiation time. And then they didn't give him anything. And then he didn't accept anything, right? There are some underlying issues that are going to float up there. The Nuggets have their second best player that's injured. The Clippers have their best player that's injured, right? And then if you looked at who the top of the West was, it was Jazz, Suns, Nuggets. I've mentioned all of them, right? Clippers, mentioned them. And then the Mavs, that's where the Mavs finished. And they finished at that spot, even though they started off the year terribly, right? And KP was a no-show for the entire season. And so if you go back, I'll go, listen, I actually think that the things that he was bad at, he's likely to be good at this year. And then you start looking around, well, okay, cool, it's Luka, and he can control the game like no other. You have KP, who actually it creates the space for him. And then the rest of the team is a bunch of guys who, one, are just good, solid NBA players, right? And most importantly, they know their role, right? So if I go, Tim Hardaway Jr. knows his role, right? He can help out from that. Dorian Finney-Smith, they know their role. They're going to get out, they're going to play D, they're going to shoot when they need to. Dwight Powell can protect the rim. He'll make up for all those things, and he can shoot from the outside. Maxi Kleber can protect the rim. He can shoot from the outside. Jalen Brunson, we were making fun of him just now, but actually he's a backup guard. Like he can ball.
Who did Mavs lose to in the playoffs?
Clippers.
Then they cut.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that the Clippers would have lost to the Suns if Kawhi wasn't injured? Because I go, no.
You think?
No chance.
So you're saying
the Clippers would have been in the finals had Kawhi not got injured, and that's who the Mavs lost to. And the Mavs lost to them, and they lost to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who Luka made look stupid.
They always battle with Luka, though. I mean, the Clips struggle with that Mavs team.
Now, can you imagine what happens in the playoffs? Because the playoffs suit Luka's style. The playoffs suit the Mavs style, right? It just happens that both seasons, right? One, I think Luka was a little bit young, right? Two, the rest of the team wasn't ready. And three, they happened to get the worst matchup.
The problem with that team is that Luka doesn't like to play with KP.
He doesn't like?
Doesn't like to play with KP. You can see it a mile away.
I think it's the other way around. I don't think Luka gives a shit. I think KP doesn't like to play with Luka. But again, it's one of those things. You play defense and winning solves a lot of that. He's playing defense and he's knocking down some shots. Everybody's happy. And so I suppose you said who's an outsider team? The Mavs, I understand. They're not that tier one. They're an outsider team. But every player there, and I didn't even get down to Trey Burke. I didn't even get down to Reggie Bullock. You guys want to hear my Frank Ntilikina? No Frank Ntilikina. I'm going to go. One of those guys is a rotation player.
JJ Barea.
No. Jalen Brunson's the new JJ Barea. JJ Barea helped win the 2011 World NBA Championship. Look, my point is, the team knows what they are. The players know their roles. Nobody's trying to do something they shouldn't, and that's always important for a team that wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely term.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd be able to paint a picture where you would work the Mavs into an answer, but I'm impressed you did.
I thought I worked him into every answer. What the? I don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Is this not a Mavs? Is this not a Mavs show? I didn't get the memo.
Okay. So we've broken down a lot of teams. Right. And with all the research I did, you guys actually said a lot that I didn't think of, right? To a point where you almost confused me a little bit. Like,
thankfully, you didn't set the benchmark very high.
Yeah.
I
didn't give us your picks, Edwards. Did you?
I genuinely believe. Now, hear me out. I genuinely believe that the Lakers will win it. I agree with, I think, Kirk, you said it, or it might be Tim. Like, actually, it was Tim. I think the mental game of the NBA is undermined. That's why the older teams generally win. Because a lot of the BMT comes down to the way you think, who you are. And I think this year, maybe LeBron is playing until his lighty can play with him. I don't know what his game plan is. It just feels like the type of year where they'll be thinking differently. So my question is, who do I believe can beat the Lakers at their best? And I can only come up with the Nets.
Did this Brad not just say, listen, guys, you must answer the question. You're not allowed to pick the Lakers or the Nets.
I think he's moving on to the next conversation.
Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Kirk. Some people don't let me ask
conversation.
It's called transitioning, Tim. Transitioning, Tim. We're not always talking about the Mavs, Tim. We move on.
Transition is a pause break. That's way too slow for a fast break.
Wait, I got that read and react.
I'm so glad there's one receptive person here that listens and not just one speaker. Tim heard Avery Bradley and he was like, yeah, this is cock. So my final question is, I believe the Lakers can win it, and it will be really hard for a team to out-psych that Lakers team. That's my theory. Is that I think when it comes to the big games, it's not basketball that wins the game. It's BMT, it's your mind, it's where you act. Right? So my pick to win it all is the Lakers, and that's just how I feel. Maybe I'm biased, but I think
you are biased because.
Yeah. But who do you guys have? Who do you have?
I have a question mark around the Lakers because of the fact that it's a newly assembled team. We've seen it time and time again. When newly assembled teams come together, they struggle, and the deciding factor is chemistry. Chemistry and injuries. If they can figure out their chemistry, and if they can figure out understanding their roles, and they can stay injury-free, they stand a good chance of winning it. I don't see anybody competing with them coming out of the West. Potentially Phoenix, potentially Utah, but that's as far as the list goes.
So who do you have? Who's your team?
So out of the West, the reason I'm skeptical about the Lakers is the fact that the people they've added haven't won titles before. And we saw it last year, like I pointed out with CP3. When you bring an elder statesman into your team and you want to feed off of that experience to drive you to a title, there's a reason he hasn't won the title before. There's a reason Westbrook hasn't won the title before. There's a reason Carmelo Anthony hasn't won the title before. As great as they are, and they've been on fantastic teams, they haven't been able to whirl their teams to a title. And there's a reason for that. Okay, there's two reasons for that.
I was about to say. James and Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph and LeBron. Those are the two reasons. But there's a reason for that. And like we saw with Phoenix, when their true colors are revealed, when CP3 got to that point and he couldn't deliver, that Phoenix team, you could see them fall apart. They didn't know where to focus, where to draw their inspiration from. They didn't know where to draw their motivation from. And so while you got LeBron, and he's fantastic, and it's so hard to bet against LeBron, I do believe that they could come out of the West, but I believe that the Nets have the step on them because they've been around for longer than them. So they've had a chance to build some sort of chemistry, regardless of whether Kyrie plays or not. I do think that they are a nice team. They've got LA back. They've got Millsap. Millsap is the X factor in that team. I do believe he's a grinder. He's got experience. He's going to do all the little things to allow KD and allow Harden to do their thing. I do believe that it's going to be the Nets and it's going to be the Lakers in the finals. I'm not sure who will win that finals. I don't think Bucks will make it. They've lost Tucker. Tucker's a huge loss for them. I mean, he was sort of he's a glue guy. He's a motivational. He's that glue guy. He's that guy that gets you going. He's that guy that gets you grimy on defense. I do believe Tucker was the piece that helped them sort of, what's the word, solidify as a unit. Without him, I think they're going to struggle. They, like you said, they have the swag of being the Kings. They are top of the hill. It's going to take a lot to knock them off the top of the hill. But I do think, I mean, they were ostrich foot away from being knocked out last year. Yeah. And that was with a hobbled Harden and without a hobbled Harden without Kyrie. If they have a fit Harden and a year to prepare, I think that the Nets are going to be the team out of the East. The Lakers will potentially be the team out of the West. And I think the Nets will top them in the finals. Yeah.
Tell me who you got.
I actually gave this answer a little bit earlier. I think the Lakers. No. Realistically, I think the Lakers. Narrative, LBJ, all the points that Kirk made about all the additional players that they put on, right? They haven't won before, but they haven't won before because they went to go join the brother that's won. Yeah, and nobody's taken more people to the promised land, right? Maybe Pat Riley, but other than Pat Riley, LeBron James, like he has dragged people to the finals constantly and over the years. And the Nets, I think, is a crazy good team, right? I just struggle with like that mental aspect. Yeah? It looks like they'll find a nutcase to fall apart in them, and that's not Kevin Durant, right? I think he's the best player in the league.
He's actually come around. Eh? I
got mad respect.
Yeah,
mad respect, and I even enjoyed the way that they played without the other two superstars. Like, it was great, but between Kyrie or Harden, something's bound to fall apart mentally at some stage, and I'll believe it when they pull it through. But the guys on the other side, they pulled it through. Yeah. Gents, my family's waiting. We meant to leave the house.
Yeah, this also way longer than what I thought.
Way longer.
This is episode 1, so that's fine. I'm sure we'll become slicker and smoother as we go along.
That was fun, guys.
This is going to be really hard for me to edit. Really. And there will be a lot of Mavs taken out.
It's like a normal NBA season.
Yeah. I think
this I got plenty for the next show.
Yeah, this was really quiet because we've actually set up the season liquor. We spoke about a broad range of teams, a broad range of players. So let's have Tuesday night happen, and we'll meet either Wednesday or Thursday, and we can talk about our initial reactions to the league.
Cool.
Before we go, watch the WNBA, my friend. That WNBA finals is super hype. Just watch it. You won't be disappointed.
Sweet. All right, cheers. Man. Thanks.
Cool. Cheers. Bye.